Well, that were quick.
I know, sorry, it didn't last very long.
3 seconds isn't enough, is it?
I reckon I can get it to 50 seconds, so it's better.
Because I definitely need it to last a bit longer than 3 seconds.
I've heard that if you pinch it really tight near the end and think about Rachel Reeves, it'll last even longer still. Hello and welcome back to our super mega little squiffy old YouTube channel, a channel of being red hot and almost on fire.
In this week's vlog, we are talking about our fire prevention because we were very proud when we got the van and we bought this little thing and it lasts 3 seconds and we've realised that our fire safety just isn't up to code.
We've also found out that it was out of date a long time ago.
Back in July 2025.
So as part of our preparations for our next big trip, we're just making sure we've got, well, everything in place, ready to be safe.
And here are our 13 top tips to keep you safe in your motorhome. And just remember, this is only the things that we know. We're not experts, and do your own research first.
Like everything else we dribble on about, we don't know what we're doing, but this is what we do. So as usual, everything we're going to talk about is not really very exciting, but for us it's a necessary evil. We've been at this now nearly 4 years. We've had 2 near misses with fire, and all the time we are adding things that are charged by USB. We've got a lithium installation, we've got solar panels, we've got miles and miles of cable, inverters, and we just feel we need to be very careful that everything's safe.
So it is a really serious subject, and if you have had a fire, then we're really sorry for you, because our 2 near misses could have been a lot worse, and they were really silly things that could have been avoided.
One of us does very silly things and I don't.
Set fire to kitchen roll that was wafted into the lit flame of the gas.
Little tip, don't put your kitchen roll next to your burners.
Just a slight bit of damage on the bubbling of the side panel and a bit of black that came off. Another fire, this time inside the oven, because I'd stored a tea towel inside and put the oven on without looking. No damage whatsoever, except to the tea towel.
You think people would learn their lesson. Because one of us has already proved themselves to be stupid at least twice, we've had to come up with a really exciting acronym to make sure that all our hot fire things are in order.
We love an acronym, and our acronym is CAMpRA, and we're going to go through all of the letters now. First on our list is the smoke alarm, and I have a beautiful assistant to help me demonstrate it. That's you, love.
Okay, I'll test. Our smoke alarm tested. A, alarm, as in our carbon monoxide alarm, because we don't all want to be sucking in fumes and going bright red in the face. That's what happens when you carbon monoxide poisoning. Yeah, you go bright red in the face.
The next one is our carbon monoxide. F is for fire equipment, and we have 3 pieces of equipment that keep us safe. Now obviously this is not to tackle a huge fire ourselves, but it might just give us those few seconds to get out safely. So we have our fire blanket, which is easily accessible up on the shelf up there. This is our fire blanket. You just pull down the strap at the bottom, the blanket's released, and then you use it just to smother anything that's on fire, or anything you want to smother.
I'm always on fire.
And we bought a new fire extinguisher, which is a fire stick.
That's not for watching Amazon, is it?
No, it's a different fire stick. And this one we're going to locate at the door so that we can access it when we're running out of the van for our lives. Now at this point we would normally do a super demonstration of our new fire stick.
Not the Amazon TV stick.
No.
We haven't just gone out and bought a hooky TV stick.
The fire suppressor stick. But why can we not do that, Andrew?
Because one of us bought a really expensive new fire suppression stick and threw it away in its box with all the other rubbish, wasting our gazillions.
Yes, now then, I did buy the fire stick from Amazon with some advice from...
An Amazon fire stick.
I know, it's confusing. With some advice from our friendly ex-fireman that we know. Thanks, Tony. But, and then I threw it away. So I do have to buy another one. But the reason I chose the fire stick was because I liked the idea of being able to get it going and then throw it in the van and close the door. You don't have to hold on to it like you do with a fire extinguisher. So it did seem a really good system to have in the van, and it lasted 50 seconds.
Which is more than enough.
So I'm going to order another one.
Ka-ching. We also have a battery fire suppression system.
Ooh.
Actually, also known as a firebomb. So it's just a big ball of what ultimately senses heat and then explodes and throws powder all over the electrical system. We've got that mounted under the bed because it gets very hot onto our bed. But that's where our battery and fuse boards and a lot of the main electrical system is stored.
But of course, obviously, it's get out and stay out if you feel you can't tackle a fire, which is what we would do.
E is for escape routes, which are a bit limited inside the van, to be fair. So our main escape routes are the front doors and the habitation door. But bear in mind, sometimes overnight, we put a strap to hold the front doors together, and we also put a strap and a pole to stop the hab door being opened from the outside. So to make sure that if that was a difficult situation, I'm never too far away from a big sharp stabby knife to cut the straps. Stabby knife for cutting straps that might obstruct your emergency egress.
And of course, we've got windows that we could also use if needed.
C is for cable check, as in our electric hookup cable. So I have two cables, 25 metre, which is wound or coiled on a big reel, and a loosely coiled with no reel 15 metre one. Every time I use them, I have a visual check of the plug itself to make sure they're not loose, there's no exposed wires, anything like that. I also check the socket to make sure there's no burn marks. And then I always uncoil the entire reel regardless. Very contentious that, you know, it's very contentious because everyone says you should uncoil the whole reel, and I do that, so don't shoot me. But some expert electricians would say that the heat needed to generate and burn and set fire to a coiled electric hookup cable would be quite significant. Therefore, the load would need to be significant for a long period of time. So if you were, say, in France using a 6 amp electric hookup, you're not really going to generate a lot of load, just using your 12 volt lights and your fridge and a bit of hot water. But I don't want to be contentious. I just uncoil it all the time.
And there are plenty of examples of pictures of people's coiled reels being on fire.
That have ignited through
so they're
heat.
there. So it's
Yeah.
a risk that you just don't need to take.
Yeah, I think if you're running air conditioning units and you're running your fridge and TV and you've got a massive load for a long duration of time, there's a chance then that coil will heat up.
But the message is uncoil your reel.
I do. I'm just saying what I've read. Don't shoot me, but because I always uncoil it. And that leads us nicely into appliance loads. So I'm pretty good at knowing sort of what draw individual things in the van, what draw they have. So if we're on electric hookup and it's 16 amp, I know what setting I can have the heating on, the hot water on. Obviously the fridge is running all the time. So then when you come to add a kettle and a toaster, we all know that can trip a bollard or put an excess load on your system. If I'm off grid and I'm using the inverter, I'm also very aware that that's a 2 kilowatt inverter. So I understand what draw, again, our low watt kettle is, and toaster and hair dryers and all those things. So the point of this is just have a good inkling of the wattage capability of either your hookup or your inverter and the wattage requirement of the electrical items that you're using, and avoid going to the max.
Our next reminder is M for motorhome gas.
Isn't that a G? Okay.
Yeah, but that didn't work.
Or an L for LPG.
Yeah, but that didn't work either. So it's an M for motorhome gas.
There is a lot of gas in this motorhome, mainly coming from over there.
But we do have refillable LPG cylinders in the van.
And every time I'm in that locker, I'm careful to have a little sniff test to make sure I can't smell a leak. But the main maintenance of the system is part of our annual HAB check. But I also make sure I don't keep anything else in there that could ignite.
So our next loose connection to an acronym is P for power systems, and this includes our electrical and battery systems.
That is our lithium battery, our inverter, various charging units, lots and lots of cables, which, as I've said, is protected by a firebomb. But I also always have a fairly frequent check of the cable itself to make sure there's nothing pulling on it, because it's underbed and we'd stack and maneuver things in and out of that locker. So I make sure nothing's caught up in the cable, that the cable where needed is armoured and that's intact, that I have a little tug of connections and fittings to make sure they haven't come loose or been pulled loose, and it's just to prevent an issue happening.
So for those that are still awake, we did say there were 13 top tips that we were going to give you, and our acronym only covered 8, which means we've got 5 more to share. Bet you can't wait, can you? The first one is around using campfires and barbecues, and obviously common sense rules here. Don't have your campfire under your awning, watch the wind, and make sure you fully extinguish it before you go to bed.
And keep it well away from your van. And also, if like us, you have a portable reusable barbecue, make sure you give it plenty of time before you start packing it away and folding it up and then putting it inside your van when you move away.
The next one is about keeping space between you and your neighbour, because you can do all of this and be perfectly safe, but you have no idea who's parking next to you.
Some of the areas that we visited, in particular big city areas, are really there to cram as many people as they can in to give them access, walking distance to big city. And sometimes the whole 3 metre thing just goes out the window. You are very close. So if you can, find a place where you're on an end, where you've got a bit of extra space, but ultimately you've just got to be super aware when you're in them situations.
We do feel very close to the neighbours. We would prefer to be 3 metres away from anybody for all sorts of other reasons apart from fire.
Because we're very noisy lovemaking. We've alluded to the habitation check. For me, I'm not an expert by any means in the electric or gas or anything. All I'm doing is regularly checking the obvious. The HAB check for me is peace of mind, because incorporated in our HAB check anyway is a safety check of the gas and a safety check of the electrical and charging system. So I'm pretty happy that annually that being done, and between the annual checks, my sort of visual inspections or basic inspections mitigates a lot of our risk.
And although there's no legal requirement to have a HAB check, our warranty is dependent on it. And I often see people on Facebook asking whether it's necessary. So for us, even when our warranty runs out fully on this van, we will still have a HAB check. The penultimate top tip from us is about your van insurance. And we, like you, will have an annual insurance policy that we think covers us for all eventualities.
As the years go by and more things get adapted and changed and upgraded on our van or your van, then the need to inform your insurance broker increases as well. So basically, tell them what you've done. There can be no argument when or if there's a situation that requires them to pay out. Yeah.
And the final top tip is about record keeping, because if you do have a catastrophe and your van goes up in flames, you don't want any hassle with claiming for any of your contents or what was in it. So our last tip is to make sure you've got copies of the receipts for things you've purchased, either digitally saved or kept away from the van, but also it's worth just filming and taking some pictures of what's in your van every year.
Well, I hope we have helped you fall asleep on a lazy evening listening to our ramblings, because it's a really dry subject, but it's just something recently, by finding a fire device out of date, that's made us give a little bit more thought about what we already do, and sometimes things we do that we didn't know we were doing, but we do, and things we need to improve on.
And if you think we've missed anything out, or you've got some really good tips to help keep your van safe, please let us know, because people do read the comments and it would be helpful for our little community.
And that is it.
We'll see you next time.
Well, probably not after watching this, but there you go. We'll see you sometime.